No doubt everybody remembers this guy, #1, James Stewart.
He is the #1 athlete in our sport right now.
There's nobody out there that can touch him.
James Stewart takes the win!
Anaheim went great. He won there.
Went to Phoenix, you know, he was feeling good. Everything was clicking.
You can prepare for 6 months. 6 months to do what you have to do, and it can be taken away in 2 seconds.
Stewart is down! Down hard. This could be a huge moment in the championship.
I had a chance to look at the MRI, and the bone is broken.
The worst bone you can actually break in a wrist.
It needs surgery.
My season was done.
The rookie is the champ!
Now James has a whole new focus, is to take back his #1 plate.
It can take 3 months to 6 months, or you can be done for life.
Those few short weeks turned into a few long months.
There's a possibility that he's going to race the 2010 outdoor, but the doctor hasn't released him yet.
Hopefully he's going to call with some good news.
Got released. When I finally got that call from the doctors, it was like, the first thing I thought about was like, okay, I need to get home, I need to start riding.
We need to still focus on the last 4 outdoors at least. If he does the last 4 outdoors, he's got to prove that, hey, I am your #1 guy, I still got it.
He's a racer, and he wants to race.
After spending so many weekends at home, we made it to Unadilla.
I can tell you one thing, like when I showed up at that race, it was gnarly. Like we had so many people at the truck, like the vibe, like people showed up.
I hate to just put you out there to sign them at random because people will go absolutely nuts.
I signed whatever they want to sign, yeah. And like to me, like I was pumped because it was like welcome back, like I got embraced to come back and all that. And I think probably the most warmth I felt than any other race I probably ever went to.
I couldn't be more excited to have him back at the races. It's been so long. Hopefully the weekend goes the way everyone plans it to be, and it's right back where we left off.
My earliest memory as a child is me on a motorcycle. We were poor, and my parents sacrificed everything to steer me into motocross. We found Florida property in the middle of the ghetto, getting bigger with every race I won, and I won a lot. Today, I'm the most famous racer in the world, the fastest man on the planet, and the first African-American champion in my sport. But last year, I was knocked out of the season due to a serious injury and had to watch my #1 plate get taken away. This summer, I'm preparing myself to win back my championship. I'm James Stewart, but some call me Bubba.
We are excited to go to Unadilla, also because the Motocross Nation.
The Motocross Nations is huge in our sport because you do it for your country.
The Motocross Nations is the Olympics of our sport, and that's a huge race for everybody. It's a worldwide event. It's usually the top 3 guys, the ones that are doing the best at the time, they're usually the ones that get chosen.
If he does the last 4 outdoors, he's got to prove that, hey, I am your #1 guy, I still got it, and I can go out here and win for the U.S. That's what he's got to prove for the last 4.
I've always been the captain of the team, which is awesome, but I've never won it as the individual, and this I'm going to. And then before I even raced Unadilla, before I even went out on the track, they announced the team.
With a very special announcement from the American Motorcyclists Association.
And unless I was not hearing correctly, my name wasn't on it.
It's hard for him to, take a deep breath and swallow on that one,
Leading up to Unadilla, not only did I want to get back out there and race, I was told that if I showed up to the last 4 races, which I was already planning on doing, that I would at least have a chance to ride for the Motocross Nations team.
There's a plan to the whole thing, and you find out in the weekend that this master plan that we've been dreaming up isn't going to happen, so it's a letdown for everybody.
I was bummed because at the end of the day, I feel like I want to earn my spot. Just give me a chance so I can make it happen, but they took that away from me.
He was told one thing and got another, but he's an adult and he'll be all right.
After the announcements, James obviously was not too happy, but everybody tried to put that aside.
No, she's a rock star.
Both practices I had the fastest lap time. The guy can be off, 8 months in between a race and come out here the first one to be the fastest guy.
No better place to come to than, legendary course we're going to do. So glad to have fun today. I just feel pretty decent, and we'll see what happens. Pumpkin here at Ball today. It's got the fastest lap time of the day with the 2:05.8. Make some noise for James Stewart!
Practice for me is the best part of the day, because it kind of sets the tone for how the rest of the day is going to go. And in both practices, he set the fastest lap time, but he didn't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out the bike wasn't working right.
Can you talk and walk at the same time?
Yeah.
I just want to find out how much time you had to prepare with James. I know we haven't had much time for testing for outdoors.
Yeah. We've actually only tested 3 days.
Wow.
If you got 3-4 days of testing, and if you can come away with one day, just one day, that everything was absolutely perfect, it's great.
We're a little bit behind the 8 ball trying to catch up and doing all your testing on the West Coast, then coming to the East Coast. First thing, the track's deeper and you run into a balance, all the things that you do have trouble with.
But when you apply it to something that, raised the bar to a different level, well, all that just went out the window.
So after practice, we all kind of came in, and I'm just like, man, something's not right. I couldn't really hit my lines right, and I was making, some mistakes. I just felt like I was, riding way too hard.
It seems like the whole bike was really rigid that whole time, the whole package. When you get a good rider like my brother that knows everything on a motorcycle, he can feel everything.
Was the grip better?
I mean, it might have been, but...
And you didn't feel that before? I mean, we're in a whole different world here.
James has never rode a Yamaha outdoors before. They had no base setup, so without any information, without ever riding and being off the bike, you really don't have any way to go back. You know what? Usually at Unadilla we do this and this and this, and it's always been a lot better, so let's just go in that direction. He's kind of just shooting in the dark.
You're talented, so you'll figure out how to ride it as long as it's rideable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's not rideable.
No, I can see that. I can see that.
After the second practice, I got the fastest lap time, and it was just man, something's not right. I couldn't really hit my lines right. I felt like I was overriding.
Just on the track, even with my handlebars, and I just was never comfortable.
I mean, to go out there and do what you did, it's huge, and just stay within what's comfortable for you.
Don't push those sketchy sections at all. The whole focus of that race was to not have any expectations, to go out there and just have fun and let whatever happen.
Hey, we're just here to go through the motions, get the bike kind of set up, get you comfortable back on the track. That's the most important thing.
But the bummer is when you're James Stewart, if you're not dominating, everybody's like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with him? What happened? So it's a tough deal for him.
Do your thing. If you be there a little before 12:20, you're good. That's in 8 minutes.
At this point, I'm just waiting. I haven't raced in all that long, so I don't really know where I'm gonna be. I want to go there and win, but also I want to go safe. I'm kind of worried about how's the bike gonna react, how physically how I'm gonna do. So
I just remember sitting in a chair about to pass out just because it was so much going on.
All that time, it's been way too much.
I'm gonna be out the rest of the season.
That's not what I was hoping to hear.
Go ahead and lie face down there. Just bend your elbows some more. We want to get that wrist.
You never miss your water till your well run dry.
Well, mine's is dry. I've been waiting for 4 months.
Until you get the sheet of paper that says, yes, you can ride.
I don't know if they can give me that sheet of paper.
If you're not racing, you got to have you somewhere doing something.
As far as you're not racing motocross.
As soon as they sign that paper, I can ride a motorcycle, I'll be back racing.
Man, I got to ride. No, we ain't riding.
I don't know what's going on, man. Kind of sitting here waiting on a phone call, too.
If it's not the news that we want to hear,
It's not to go down there.
Anybody that's tied to James in any way, the number one question in this summer is, when is he going to start racing again?
Honestly, I've been thinking, like, will I ever race again? All that, we're going racing. Like, we're going racing, we came here, so we're gonna go out there and do it. It doesn't matter what, everything that's happened in the past, it doesn't faze me. Like, my mentality is, like, win or die trying. That's always the way I've been. And so I don't need luck to win. Like, I'm gonna make my own luck.
I don't care what anybody says. You can practice, you can test, but nothing is as good as racing to know where your bike is and how your body is. You can't duplicate that practicing or testing. And that's why James wanted to go race.
I'm a little nervous in the gate, but I'm trying to play it cool. Like, it's no big deal. I was trying to keep telling myself, like, just have fun, like, have fun. Then my stomach drops, and then my mind, I'm like, all right, James, let's get it done. I just remember, like, not racing for 8 months. Those guys were going so fast the first lap. I'm in third. It was Dungy leading, and the Saul guy, he came from Europe, so I don't even know who this guy is. And I couldn't pass him. Like, I just couldn't pass him. And we went through the first 2 corners, and I said, oh, this ain't gonna be good, because I hit some bumps, and it was just like, my bike was so, like, rigid. And then so I rode 35 minutes, like, hard out, and it was just so hard for me. Like, it was obvious.
He made it to the end of the moto, but it's deep.
I think it took a lot out of James to ride that 30 minutes. You might be fine and come off in 30 minutes, but you worked twice as hard as the other guy to do that.
Hey, you rode great. I know you want to win everything, but you rode awesome. You rode awesome. You're a month into this thing, and you're back here doing this. That's awesome, dude.
So I got third place the first moto, and then, did the podium speech. And I remember feeling like I've never rode that hard in my life. I go back to the pits, and then you take off the happy face, like, hey, I got third place. Like, look, we got another moto to go. I got to do this again. And I knew I couldn't do it again. I knew I could not go that same pace another 35 minutes without hitting the deck.
In motocross, you race 2 30-minute motos and 2 extra laps. So, they could be running, 35, 36 minutes, hard on, twice.
It's kind of a mad dash. After one moto to the next moto, I think it's about an hour or so of preparation before the second moto. So the team is working on the bike setup.
If the bike was more like it was in practice, the first practice, do you think that's the way to go? But you don't know right now.
I don't know where to start.
So is the biggest sensation in the rear of movement?
When he went to race, if he would have raced, he would have won the race. He was just in the race.
I think a lot of things happen in between the first and second moto, like a lot of reality checks. I think a reality check for me was like, I probably should have prepared better. I think the bike setup could have been a lot better. And I think me and Eldon's program, it didn't work. When we should have been riding, we was riding bicycles. When we should have been doing this, we was doing that. So I think out of all those combinations in between those motos, we had nothing left.
I mean, he doesn't want to go out and settle for second whatsoever. He's going to go out there, he's going to put it all on the line. But he's got to make sure that he gets his head together before he tries to go out there and try to race.
You went to the line, you wasn't thinking about leaving the gate. You had a lot of other things on your mind.
Moto number 2, a much worse start for Stewart this time.
He was just out there in la-la land.
Things weren't gelling for him, and he had to make a decision.
The bike is all over the place, and you're thinking about all those things. It's like the smart thing, you pull off the racetrack and you walk away from that place.
When he pulled off, it was huge. I was watching the race with Big James. He said he'd never seen his kid quit.
I can really tell how James is going to do before he ever go to the start line. I knew Unadilla wasn't going to go great. I knew it.
I wasted so much energy that first moto, and then like the second one, like I didn't have anything to like
Just flat.
yeah to go, and then I'm like losing the front end, just like making mistakes.
It's quick. For you to be back there is quick. You knew that coming in.
It's just like what the I'm doing here.
I think him pulling off showed that he's matured, because I think James Stewart a few years ago, he would have just pinned it. You know, probably wouldn't have up on his head. And then we'd be right back where we were at Phoenix.
The only thing I could say is he didn't have another moto in you. The bike's not set up great. It's wasting energy that way.
I understand. I really do. I understand, but it's just the way I am.
Yeah, I know. You're wired that way. That's who James Stewart is, and that's why you're great.
That's why I won't ever happen again.
What do you think? I mean, are we going to see James Stewart back in the next 3 races? This was a test, and I'm sure it didn't quite go as well as he hoped.
After Unadilla, James really was concerned about the bike setup and everything, so he shot out to California to start testing right away to get prepared for the next race.
From seeing what really went down at Unadilla,
Things went from bad to worse. He eventually pulled off in some frustration, didn't finish moto number 2.
I realized how far we was behind.
I knew Southwick was even rougher than Unadilla, so I looked at all the track, and they only got rougher. When James do some testing, it's a lot of work. They go from suspension to triple clamps to linkage. So many things that change on the bike. I want to try that motor.
The original game plan was like just kind of get your geometry sorted out today.
It's going, but it's not moving in the process that I would like to see it move, or I know it can move.
Do you think that we'll get off track by trying to keep going down this road?
They thought that they could come up with a good outdoor setup pretty easy, but it started to be a little bit more than what they expected.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel as stable.
I didn't realize how bad you had it.
We went back testing, and it was still like I felt like we were still trying to rush.
I mean, maybe this one felt like a little lower.
Does it ever feel like too low?
And it just, everything started running in the back of my mind. Like I instantly started thinking like something's got to change. It's all about how comfortable and how good I feel. Yeah, it just seems like, I think I might feel better if I had more time, but I haven't had a chance. I don't know. So I was like, all right, guys. We got to pull out of racing. Like, we can't go racing like this. We can't do it. Like, we can't race.
Why even send the truck and spend the money to go there when, we're not exactly where we want to be?
Round 2 in the outdoors wasn't in the cards for him.
Now he's a mature adult. He's just coming off an injury. He made the smart decision and said, look, I got nothing to gain. I'm not in the points. I'm not comfortable. I'm not happy right now. I think when he explained that to everybody understood. I mean, what are you going to say? You should have rode it in the ground and took chances and got hurt. We're not on the bike. We don't feel it. We don't know. If you're not comfortable and you make the decision, nobody can fight you on it.
2011, it's all or nothing. At this point in my career, I can't go downhill any farther than I already am. The whole Destinations thing went wrong on me, and then I get beat at my last race against the guy that I'm supposed to overcome. So there's a lot of things in my mind that says, where can we go right at? Like, where can we make the team better? And the way I look at it, it's up to me.
He wants to start making decisions, and he wants to be proactive and start taking control of himself and his own career.
I had these great sponsors, Samuel and Yamaha and Red Bull, and basically I kind of went in there and just said, hey, what do you guys need? Where do you can see our team being better? And find out why we don't do outdoors. Tell me why we don't do it. So I got a lot of answers out of those meetings, and I know why a lot of things didn't happen. I know why a lot of things did. Maybe in the next season or something like that I can let you in, but this season I can't let you into this stuff. But, you know, the meetings went great.
James came to me like he did with all of his other sponsors and told me he had some changes in his program, and I was pretty surprised to hear it.
When I hired Eldon, dude, I learned so much, and that guy was good for me at that time. But the way I was brought up was riding 100 laps a day.
This whole cycling thing got carried away. I've been telling him, it's like, son, you haven't been riding enough to make yourself crispy on the motorcycle.
Eldon's a great trainer, but Johnny O'Mara's a bad dude.
Dude, I was champion, remember? Like, do you think I forgot everything?
Johnny O'Mara is he's a legend in our sport.
He's won championships back in like the 80s when he was the top guy.
Johnny knows he's been there and done it at James's level, so he's definitely solidified his place in motocross, and he's a great mentor.
Johnny O'Mara, they call him AKA the O Show. I call myself the Bro Show. Kind of get it?
It doesn't matter how good you are. You have to be like motocross tough, and the guy that rides the most is always the champion. I can sense it in James that this means the world to him, and I think just with our combination of desire and dedication, and that we'll get him back on top. I'm really confident on it.
Next year is a big year for me, and you know it's make or break. You know, either I turn the road and go the other way and probably quit racing, or I go back to being a champion.